Edgar Cayce, often called a modern-day prophet, is regarded as the most documented psychic of all time and Christian County, Kentucky's most famous native son. Known as the Sleeping Prophet, Cayce was an American psychic renowned for his trance readings on health, spirituality, and future events. He predicted that China would become the world's economic power, stating that civilization would shift to China. In the 1920s and 1930s, such an idea seemed unbelievable, but today it feels remarkably prescient. Among his significant predictions were the 1929 Wall Street crash and claims about Atlantis. Beyond his forecasts, Cayce transformed lives through medical and spiritual healing, leaving a lasting impact on many, some of whom are still alive to share their stories. His accuracy and transformative influence shaped lives profoundly. Born on March 18, 1877, in Christian County, Kentucky, Edgar Cayce grew up in a rural setting. With parents busy managing their farm and a family of 6, his childhood might seem ordinary, but it was far from it. As a child, Edgar claimed to see his deceased grandfather's ghost and tested the experience by staring until the apparition turned transparent. These encounters with the supernatural marked the beginning of his unique abilities. At the age of 10, Edgar developed a deep fascination with the Bible, reading it cover to cover 12 times in just 2 years. One day, while reading in his favorite woodland hideout, a winged woman appeared and asked him what he most desired in life. Frightened but honest, Edgar expressed his wish to help others, especially children. This angelic encounter foreshadowed the extraordinary path he would take. Soon after, Edgar's life took an unexpected turn. After getting in trouble for daydreaming in class, his father quizzed him on his spelling words. Failing to recall them, Edgar was reprimanded, but later that night, he remembered the winged woman's words and tried a new study method, sleeping on his schoolbooks. Miraculously, when he woke, he could recite everything he had read. His father was skeptical at first, but was ultimately astounded. Edgar continued using this method, excelling in his studies and becoming the top student in his class. Another turning point came during a school baseball game, when Edgar was hit in the back and began acting strangely. While asleep, he diagnosed his own injury and prescribed a cure, which worked remarkably well. These incidents foreshadowed the abilities that would later earn him the title, the Sleeping Prophet. Edgar's life was filled with challenges and self-discovery. After completing formal schooling in the late 1890s, he moved with his family to Hopkinsville, Kentucky. Times were tough, and a 9th-grade education was all his family could afford. Edgar faced the realities of life with limited schooling, striving to support his family in an era of rapid industrialization. In 1897, Edgar became engaged to Gertrude Evans, and life seemed promising. However, in 1900, he developed severe laryngitis, losing his ability to speak entirely. This was a devastating blow for someone whose livelihood depended on communication. Through these formative years, Edgar Cayce's life was marked by extraordinary experiences and challenges that set the stage for his later fame as a psychic diagnostician. His story, from encounters with the supernatural to miraculous recoveries and early adversities, reveals a life that was anything but ordinary. Edgar's early struggles and turn to photography. Edgar couldn't sell insurance, which he had started with his father. Stuck at home and unable to work, Edgar's future looked grim. Determined to find a quieter profession, Edgar turned to photography, an occupation less taxing on his voice. He started an apprenticeship with a local photographer, honing his skills behind the camera. Just when things seemed stable, Edgar's condition drew the attention of a traveling stage hypnotist named Hart, also known as the Laugh Man, who offered a potential cure. This encounter introduced Edgar to the world of hypnotism, a pivotal moment in his life. During a session in the local throat specialist's office, Edgar's voice miraculously returned while under hypnosis, only to vanish again upon waking. Despite repeated attempts, the hypnotist couldn't make the cure stick. The role of Al Lane and Edgar's discovery. It wasn't until a local hypnotist, Al Lane, took over that Edgar saw a lasting improvement. Under Lane's guidance, Edgar not only regained his voice, but discovered his clairvoyant abilities. Lane suggested Edgar use his gift for public good, which marked the beginning of his psychic readings. Despite his growing skills, Edgar was hesitant to turn his abilities into a business. He was deeply moral, struggling with the implications of his work. He agreed to give readings, but only for free, fearing the consequences of a potential mistake. During this time, Edgar juggled his photography business, his new role as a father, and his psychic readings. His life was a balancing act between personal, professional, and supernatural responsibilities. When a fire destroyed his photographic studio not once but twice, Edgar found himself financially ruined yet again. Nevertheless, he remained committed to his ethical principles, refusing lucrative offers to commercialize his psychic abilities. Transition to Virginia Beach. After his transformative experiences in Dayton, Edgar set his sights on Virginia Beach. Guided by a voice during one of his trances, it was 1925, and Edgar was diving deeper into the world of metaphysics, even as he tried to keep one foot firmly planted in his Christian beliefs. His move to Virginia Beach marked the beginning of the most significant period of his career. The family's initial days in Virginia Beach were filled with both promise and challenges. Edgar's steadfast supporter, Morton Blumenthal, a New York Stock Exchange trader, saw potential in Edgar's abilities and financed their new home. Here, Edgar's gifts would flourish in ways he never imagined. Blumenthal's investment was more than financial. It was a leap of faith in Edgar's profound abilities. Establishment of the Hospital for Research and Enlightenment. The next major step was the establishment of the Hospital for Research and Enlightenment in 1928, a monumental effort toward legitimizing and studying Edgar's work scientifically. Imagine a place where the line between conventional medicine and psychic healing blurred, creating a hub of holistic treatment. This facility wasn't just a hospital, it was a research center, a library, and a lecture hall all rolled into one. Edgar hoped to integrate his psychic readings with tangible medical practices. However, not everything went according to plan. Financial strains and managerial disagreements led to Blumenthal retracting his support in 1931, forcing the hospital to close. Yet, this setback didn't deter Edgar. Instead, it spurred him to evolve his mission. Formation of the Association for Research and Enlightenment. In 1931, Edgar formed the Association for Research and Enlightenment, AR, to continue his work in a more organized and impactful way. The AR aimed to provide spiritual service and educational platforms for those seeking deeper metaphysical and spiritual knowledge. It became a beacon for those navigating the complexities of the human spirit and physical health, offering resources and study groups that attracted people from diverse backgrounds. Edgar's later years and legacy. Amid these developments, Edgar's health began to wane, burdened by the sheer volume of readings and their emotional toll. World War II exacerbated this, as desperate families sought his help for loved ones missing in action. Feeling a profound duty to assist, Edgar increased his readings dramatically. By 1944, he was exhausted, leading to a collapse that signaled the need to slow down. In his final months, Edgar reflected on a life filled with extraordinary experiences and teachings. He passed away in January 1945, leaving behind a legacy that would outlast him. His wife, Gertrude, followed him in death just 3 months later. The AR continued to thrive, preserving over 14,000 of Edgar's readings and fostering a community dedicated to exploring the greater mysteries of life. Cayce. Now we come to the part where we can see the similarity between Nostradamus and Edgar Cayce. Not only is Nostradamus known for predictions that came true, but Edgar Cayce, often called the sleeping prophet, also made some eerily accurate forecasts. From foreseeing monumental global events to predicting technological marvels and natural disasters, Edgar's visions continue to intrigue and mystify. Let's delve into some of these prophecies, examining how closely reality has mirrored his foresight. Firstly, let's look at his startling predictions about the stock market crash of 1929. In the mid-1920s, while the Roaring Twenties danced on, Edgar, during a trance, issued a warning to a physician about forthcoming wealth that would be easily taken away around 1929. Similarly, He cautioned a New York stockbroker about an impending financial catastrophe. True enough, in October 1929, the stock market crashed, triggering the Great Depression. Moving beyond financial predictions, Edgar's forecasts touched on geopolitical changes, notably the collapse of the Soviet Union. Long before anyone could imagine the fall of such a vast empire, Edgar spoke of Russia being the hope of the world, emerging not through communism but through a freedom that would champion the common good, reflecting the principles of equality and fraternity. By 1991, the Soviet Union dissolved, abandoning communism for more democratic governance and market-oriented reforms. Another of Edgar's forecasts involved the mystical land of Atlantis, a favorite topic of his that captured the imaginations of many. He predicted in 1938 that parts of the temples of Atlantis would begin to re-emerge in the late 1960s near Bimini. Lo and behold, in 1968, the Bimini Road was discovered, and many believe this undersea formation to be part of Atlantis. While skeptics argue about its origins, the timing and location of the discovery were uncannily in line with Edgar's predictions. He described Atlantis as a technologically advanced civilization that ultimately destroyed itself through spiritual hubris, serving as a cautionary tale for modern society. Moreover, Edgar did not shy away from making predictions about American politics. He foresaw the untimely deaths of 2 U.S. presidents. In 1939, he ominously noted that the next 2 presidents would face tremendous challenges. Indeed, Franklin D. Roosevelt died in office in 1945, followed by the assassination of John F. Kennedy in 1963. These events underscored Edgar's insight into the turbulence and trials within American leadership. Nostradamus and Edgar's visions of war and Hitler share intriguing similarities. Although Nostradamus lived much earlier than Edgar Cayce, and though 3 centuries separated them, their predictions echo through time with eerie similarity, especially regarding the tumultuous events of World War II and the rise of Adolf Hitler. Nostradamus, with his quatrains as cryptic as a sphinx's riddle, mentioned a young child born of poor people from the depths of Western Europe. Fast forward to the 20th century, and we have Adolf Hitler, a man whose oratory skills seduced a great troupe. His infamy spread towards the east, aligning with Nostradamus's words like pieces in a historical puzzle. Another quatrain mentions battles near Heiser, often linked to Hitler. However, Heiser is also an old name for the Danube River. Was Nostradamus talking about the dictator or merely describing a scene along Europe's second-longest river? These verses are seen by many as a prediction of a great conflict affecting the region through which the Danube flows. Now, let's shift gears to Edgar Cayce. During his trance readings in 1935, he predicted a war involving many nations, including Austria, Germany, and Japan. He also said that the U.S. would enter the war in 1941. He described this war as the world on fire. A year earlier, he predicted that Hitler would rule Germany until he was overthrown by a foreign war. 2 seers separated by centuries, but united by their uncanny foresight. Whether you're a believer in prophecies or just enjoy a good historical puzzle, these predictions add a dash of mystery to your day. And who knows? Maybe there's something to these old texts after all, or perhaps it's just history's way of playing tricks. Nostradamus and Edgar Cayce, seers of their own ends. However, this isn't the most bizarre thing these 2 seers predicted. Did you know that both Nostradamus and Edgar Cayce foresaw their own deaths? Imagine having the ability to peer into the future, witnessing events unfold long before they happen. Now picture knowing the exact moment of your own demise. It sounds like a scene from a movie, right? Well, for Nostradamus and Edgar, it was a haunting reality. Nostradamus and Edgar Cayce, 2 of history's most famous prophets, lived lives steeped in mystery and mysticism. Their realities were extraordinary and filled with eerie accuracies that have mystified people for centuries. Let's start with Nostradamus, the renowned French prophet from the Renaissance era. Born Michel de Nostradame in 1503, he became famous for his cryptic quatrains that many believe predict significant historical events. Among his many prophecies, Nostradamus supposedly predicted his own death. The story goes that on the evening of July 1st, 1566, he told his assistant, "Tomorrow at sunrise I shall no longer be here." True to his words, Nostradamus passed away that very night, and on July 2nd, 1566, he was found dead. Fast forward to the 20th century, we find Edgar Cayce, born in 1877, who gained fame for his ability to enter trance-like states and provide detailed prophecies, health diagnoses, and spiritual insights. His predictions covered a wide range of topics, from medical advice to future events. But Edgar didn't stop at forecasting the future for others. He also predicted his own death. During one of his trance sessions, he mentioned he would pass away in just a few days. On January 3rd, 1945, exactly 4 days after predicting his demise, Edgar died of a stroke. There is something profoundly eerie about how both these men managed to foresee their own exits from this world. It's as if they had a secret calendar marked with their end dates. Edgar Cayce's legacy includes shocking predictions for 2024 that have captivated people for decades. As we approach the second part of 2024, some of his prophecies are drawing special attention. His visions for this significant year cover a range of topics, including environmental changes, spiritual awakenings, and geopolitical shifts. One intriguing forecast is a significant shift in the Earth's magnetic poles in 2024. Imagine compasses spinning wildly, birds and animals that rely on the Earth's magnetic field for navigation becoming disoriented, and potential disruptions in the electrical grid due to geomagnetic storms. This shift, according to Edgar, could lead to years of economic confusion as industries from aviation to telecommunications might be affected by these natural changes. Edgar also predicted alterations in the Gulf Stream, a powerful ocean current that influences climate patterns across the globe. He suggested that these changes could lead to the melting of polar ice caps, rising sea levels, and a transformation in weather patterns globally. Imagine coastal cities facing flooding, communities being displaced, and biodiversity suffering significant losses. These environmental changes would not only reshape our physical world, but also challenge us to rethink how we live and interact with our environment. In December 2024, Edgar envisioned a crucial time for a shift toward a new era of enlightenment and peace. He believed that during this period, people would become more spiritually aware and start developing psychic abilities such as clairvoyance and precognition. Imagine a world where intuition and precognition become as common as using smartphones. This rise in consciousness could lead to a more empathetic society, where decisions are made with consideration for the collective good rather than individual gain. Edgar also touched on the idea of a spiritual awakening, predicting that 2024 would be a pivotal year for this collective rise in consciousness. He foresaw individuals becoming more attuned to their inner selves and the universe, leading to a more harmonious existence. This spiritual renaissance might see technological advancements balanced with spiritual growth, leading to innovations that heal rather than harm. Another fascinating aspect of Edgar's prophecies for 2024 involves the geopolitical landscape. He predicted that China would emerge as a beacon of hope and progress on the global stage. Decades before anyone could foresee China's rise, Edgar suggested that this nation would play a crucial role in leading the world toward a brighter future. Imagine China not just as an economic powerhouse, but as a country that embodies progress and hope, steering humanity toward unity and cooperation. Interestingly, Nostradamus also mentioned China in his quatrains, referring to a conflict between China and Taiwan. He wrote about combat and naval battles and mentioned that the red adversary will become pale with fear, putting the great ocean in dread. This prophecy aligns with China's expansionist policies and its significant influence in the Indian Ocean region, with the red color often associated with communism. It's fascinating how both Nostradamus and Edgar Cayce predicted the rise of China. One of Edgar's most tantalizing predictions for 2024 involves the discovery of an ancient hall of records. He indicated that this hidden chamber, possibly located near the Great Pyramid in Egypt, would be unearthed when humanity reaches a new level of consciousness. The contents of this hall are said to hold vital knowledge about our past and keys to our future. Imagine the revelation of such a place. It would be nothing short of revolutionary, potentially rewriting what we know about human civilization. As we inch closer to 2024, it's fascinating to ponder these predictions and watch for signs of their unfolding. Will we witness the environmental shifts Edgar spoke of? Will we experience a global spiritual awakening? And will the Hall of Records be revealed? These questions keep many intrigued and eager to see what the future holds. Let's be ready for what comes next. Legacy and influence have always been significant when discussing spiritual awakening. Edgar Cayce had a profound impact on many people during his life, and even after his death. His holistic approaches to health, spirituality, and foresight have inspired countless individuals and organizations. Often referred to as the father of holistic medicine, Cayce's pioneering contributions to the field continue to resonate. He emphasized the importance of diet, meditation, and natural remedies, offering advice on health that extended beyond merely treating symptoms. Cayce's perspective considered the entire state of body, mind, and spirit. He believed that a healthy diet, natural remedies, meditation, and spiritual well-being were key to achieving and maintaining health. His integrative approach, addressing various aspects of human existence, laid the groundwork for modern holistic and alternative medical practices. To this day, many of his recommendations remain influential in alternative medicine. Beyond health, Cayce's teachings on reincarnation, karma, and the interconnectedness of all living beings have significantly shaped the New Age movement and other spiritual communities. His ideas have encouraged many to explore meditation, prayer, and self-realization as part of their spiritual practices. People continue to find inspiration in his teachings, often using them as a foundation for their own spiritual journeys. What do you think about Edgar Cayce's prophecies for 2024? Let us know in the comments and subscribe to our channel for more. By subscribing, you'll stay updated with the latest tales, insights, and inspirations from various expeditions around the globe. Don't miss out on the chance to be part of a community that cherishes exploration and discovery.